Y'all, people forgive people more easily when they're great at something, when they're legends in their field. People are more forgiving of that individual when their talent level was high. It's proven facts. As y'all know, in rap culture and fashion culture and sports culture, there's often a divide between the younger generation and the newer generation, right? And I think that a lot of people, like, nostalgia plays into it a lot. A lot of people are fans of their era of sports or their era of music or their era of fashion so much that they can't look at another generation ahead of them and salute it or kind of think outside of the box and say, okay, I see where it's coming from and I understand it or I appreciate it or maybe I don't appreciate it, but it is what it is, rather than like talk down on it. Now, let me get me wrong. I'm 25. It's a lot of traditions and a lot of things that's going on in entertainment news and sports world and the hip hop world and the music industry, all that I don't agree with. Or in pop culture, there's a lot of stuff going on I don't agree with. But it's a lot of hypocrisy that I see in the comparison from things back then to today. One of the biggest points is how, like, this is why I say that if you're great at something, people will excuse it, put it to the back of their mind, or dismiss it. People call out Young Thug for the words he uses. They say it's homosexual behavior or words that he uses is kind of is borderline homosexual stuff, or the way he dresses like a woman, is feminizing the black man, is making a black man look feminine, or just making us just look bad all across the board with the dresses and calling his dudes this and that and wearing fingernail polish, all this type of stuff, right? But those same individuals will look at Prince and what Prince did. God rest his soul, because I don't talk bad about the dead. I'm just speaking facts. They'll look at Prince and say, oh, that was different. That was different. What was so different about it? Other than you think Prince is absolutely talented individual, which he was, like music writer, songwriter, producer, a performer, all of that. Absolutely phenomenal. But the difference is no difference in the way that they dressed and all of that. You can say Prince had fine women. Fine women. First of all, you don't know if Prince was actually having sex with those women. You don't know. Could have been around as a decoy. We don't know. Now, do I think so? No, I don't, but we don't know. For two, Young Thug's girlfriend was absolutely beautiful. Like, that woman was a beautiful black woman. For real. She was gorgeous to me. So, both of them can have pretty women, if you can say that. Listen, Prince was dressing in feminine clothing. Like, when I was a kid, I thought Prince was homosexual. Like, I really thought that. You know what I mean? Like, and as I got older, I became aware of androgynous clothing, androgynous behavior, clothing. Men was wearing clothing back then. It could be looked at as feminine clothing, stuff like that. And some of that stuff is happening today. And the old heads are so upset about it. Man, this ain't no man's stuff, man. Then we bring up Prince. We ask y'all, what about Prince? When he wore pants with the butt cut out and stuff like that. When he wore high heels and stuff like that. That wasn't feminine? That wasn't feminine? Oh, that was different. Prince had all the chicks. Well, Young Thug got a lot of women too. You know what I mean? So, what's the difference? It's just the difference that you respect Prince's music acumen. You respect him musically. You respect that he had pretty women around him. You don't care about Young Thug to know if he has pretty women around him or not, or pretty women are interested in him or not in his personal life, because you're not interested in his music at all. So you can't vibe with it. So there's no difference. Same thing when I was talking about when D'Angelo Russell was criticized so heavily for when he snitched on Nick Young and basically made a video of Nick Young talking about how he had other women while he was dating rap singer, rap star, or rap sensation at the time, Iggy Azalea. And old heads like, see, he broke the code. These young boys don't know what they young boys. They all out here telling each other that stuff wouldn't fly back in our era. Even dudes that I knew that grew up in the early 2000s, our era was different. But you had Kobe go up in here in an interrogation room when that fire was on him. He gonna tell the police, when he was getting investigated for that rape charge, he gonna tell the police, not the police, the police, he gonna tell them, I should have just paid them women like Shaq be doing. I should have paid them like Shaq be doing. But y'all gonna talk about y'all era was different. What's the difference? You don't criticize Kobe the same way you held D'Angelo Russell to those same standards. Why? Because Kobe is an all-time great basketball player, arguably the third greatest basketball player to ever play the game. He scored 81 points in a game, which is absolutely phenomenal. The second most scored in the NBA game. Got 5 NBA championships. League MVP before. 2-time NBA Finals MVP is absolute killer on the court. So you respect that more coming from him, and you put it to the back of your mind because he's a legend, he's a GOAT. And D'Angelo Russell is not, or that shall be seen, has not reached any of those type of anywhere near the GOAT status or legendary status as of yet. It's so many hypocrisies and so many contradictions from older generation to the new generation. It's just like a tug of war, it's a fight. You can say things were different in our era with this and that, but we can look at many instances where things were the same. Like you have people saying, I remember this. I remember I saw this on Instagram. Somebody made a post like, back then, we were talking, our rappers were the dealers. Now they the drug heads and they the junkies. As if either one is better than the other. Yes, I'm not dumb. I'm conscious of the fact that a lot of people in rap culture and our community, period, come from harsh circumstances where they had to fend for themselves, and oftentimes, and they resorted to selling the drugs that were implanted or imported into our communities. I'm no dummy to that. But at the same time, is glorifying using or selling is glorifying selling any better than glorifying the using? It's not, because either way, it's attributing to the killing of our destruction of our people. Either way you look at it, either you use or you selling, is both attributing to the destruction of our people. So it's no back in my day, this was better, this was that, like, or you would say just, and it really is because you like the rap and the lyrical ability of, and I do too, Ghostface Killer, Raekwon, or of I'm trying to think who else, of a Jay-Z. You like it more than you do of let me see some younger dudes now. More than I don't know, the Soulja Boys, the Young Thugs, the Gucci Manes. You like those dudes better than that. And that's fine, just say that. But, man, and then you had drug heads back then dudes was talking about taking drugs back then too. You had dudes talking about taking drugs back then too. So you can't try to differentiate it. Like, I mean, you can, but at the same time, I can point out so many hypocrisies in it. So many contradictions in it. I think people just have they have a tendency to be attached to their era of things and think it's better. They think it's better. You got some guys saying stuff like, oh, LeBron cried for too many calls. Back in my era, we didn't do this. And I can pull up clear footage of dudes in the 90s asking for calls, thinking they got fouled on every call. Every call. You just don't think LeBron James is as great as the players in that era. You don't think he's great as Larry Bird or Michael Jordan or whoever it is, and you gonna make it seem like it was any different. You have floppers back then too. So it's just I really be trying to cut out on the divide between the older generation and the younger generation. I'm 25. I talk to a lot of old heads. When I say old heads, again, it's a term of endearment, not a term of disrespect. But I communicate with them as well as the younger dudes, the younger shorties, younger than me in the shy, in the hood. So, but man, I look at that all the time and see how much of a divide it is, and how people try to, older generation act like this generation is so much just so different and so out of this world and unbelievable. Because back then, even when my parents was younger and my mama was a teenage mama, right? In her generation, they would say stuff like, people older than her, my grandmother's generation would say, oh, we didn't have kids this young. I don't know what's wrong with them, with this generation. And back then they was having kids 13 and 14, so too. So, it's just like you tend to think things were better in your generation. And I don't ever want to be one of them old heads where I can't get credit where credit is due, where I can't look at things objectively, because I feel my era, I feel these dudes more than I feel the people in this times doing whatever they doing, whether it's in sports, whether it's in basketball, whether it's in I don't know what else, whether it's the video games, I don't know, but you got to get respect when it's due, man. A lot of people are so caught up in an era that they can't look at things objectively. Or they just so biased that they don't see that things aren't too different than what it once was sometimes on certain things. Or that you look at two different people or two different things differently because you appreciate one more than the other. And that's all it is, man. That's all it is, man. I'm done enough talking, man. I'm out, y'all.